Today we are finally getting into a topic that has been requested many times and I've had it for a while, sitting in my back pocket. We're getting into fan fiction. Hey fresties, welcome back to Wattpad Wednesdays. Like I said, today's episode is all about how to write a good fanfic. And you may be wondering what authority I even have about this subject, because if you go to my Wattpad, you will notice no fanfiction in sight. But I, like many other writers, got my start in fanfiction. Fanfiction is one of the things that made me discover my love for reading and writing. And I'm still known to dabble in some self-insert fanfiction from time to time. Also, I'm the type of person, I love to read reader inserts, I like to read fan fiction, so I'm coming at it from the point of view of a reader as well, just to give advice of what readers like to see in fan fiction, what makes it feel authentic. Also, I'm going to clarify, when I say fan fiction, I mean about fictional characters. I am not somebody who supports like real person fan fiction. Now, that being said, there are nuances, and if you're like young, then I don't know. I feel like it's different. If a 14-year-old is writing fan fiction for their favorite celebrity, it's a lot different than if like a 25-year-old is doing it. I don't generally support it anymore just because I feel like it's a little invasive and weird, just because like they are real people. This is fan fiction advice for fiction. Anyways, getting into tip number 1. While you are watching your source material, because I know this isn't the first time you've watched it, okay? You've been through this like 5 times before. I get it. Either keep like a journal and a pen, or keep your phone with you on your notepad app and literally just write down everything. Well, okay, not everything, but you want to be taking notes on the little tiny insignificant details about whatever character, or honestly all the characters that you're going to be writing about. For example, if in episode 12 your character is drinking a certain brand of soda or a certain flavor of soda, bam. Write that down. Now you know, you can headcanon that's that character's favorite flavor of soda. When somebody reads that, if they make that connection, it's just kind of a big deal. And even if they don't make the connection, it fleshes out the character and kind of makes it feel like you have information about them that nobody else somehow knows. Like, I don't know. Pay attention to the shirts, the outfits that your characters are wearing, so that way you can have them like dressed appropriately if you describe their outfit. Or this can also give other clues, like if a character is wearing a shirt of a band or that has like a silly little reference on it, you can be like, oh, okay, so they like this type of music, or they're kind of nerdy because they have this little pun on their shirt, stuff like that. These little tiny details, you can integrate them naturally into the flow of your writing, and it's just gonna make the characters feel more fleshed out, and it's gonna make things feel more true to canon, which I know sometimes we have some things about canon that we want to change. But little things like that that really make the characters who they are, that's the kind of stuff that most people don't want to change. That's kind of why they write fanfic in the first place, because they want like these same characters but in different scenarios. So having these little bits of characterization just helps everything feel more genuine. I actually got this from one of my favorite headcanon self-insert writers on Tumblr. She will take the tiniest little detail and turn it into like a full-blown character trait that just makes the character feel so real and so genuine, but still relating to canon. Like, not just pulling random things out of her butt, you know? She's actually taking things from canon and just expanding on it. One example I will give that I remember is in the movie, this one character, while he's like preparing, I don't know, like a charcuterie board or something, he's like eating the olives as he's laying them out on the board. So she turned that into, oh, okay, so this character is like a bit of a nuisance if you're cooking something in the kitchen. Like, he's always gonna be around just taking little bits of food, and it's just like that. It's just so good. It's so good that you can take this tiny little aspect of a character that other people might not even notice it on the first run through of watching whatever it is, but then you can just turn it into something that actually makes them feel like a real person. This, I think, is a good segue into tip 2, which again, I'm gonna say you could be taking notes on this while you're viewing your source material. Really pay attention to the speaking patterns of the characters. This is something that I find makes all the difference, because I mean, as people, speaking patterns are a big part of who we are and what make us recognizable personality-wise. See, I was about to say, you know, at the end of that sentence because that's something that I do a lot. When I edit these videos, I have to edit out like 17,000 you knows. So you can have a character, maybe they do that a lot. Maybe they say you know a lot. And maybe it's something that you don't even pick up on right away, but when you're really analyzing the way that they speak, you're like, okay, this character needs to cool it with the you knows. But when you're writing that character, then you know that you can make them say that all the time, and it's gonna make it feel like canon. Someone reading that is gonna be like, wow, this really sounds like something that X character would say. Maybe they stammer a lot, maybe they use a lot of big words, maybe they never use big words. If they have an accent, you can try to write in the accent. Some characters will talk in ways that aren't grammatically correct. Even if you are thinking about a character in your head right now and they're like, I just really don't think that they have any specific speaking tendencies, like they just talk very normally. If you go through, again, the source material and really analyze it and take notes, I'm sure you can find at least something, some kind of pattern, something to write down where you're like, okay, this is something that I can integrate into the dialogue lines that I'm gonna give them. Okay, moving on to tip 3. This is really only relevant if you are writing fan fiction and you have the hope of garnering an audience, entertaining other people with it. If you're just writing fan fiction for yourself, I still would recommend the first 2 tips because it makes it feel more genuine to yourself. But this tip is more about if you also hope to have an audience. That is that fan fiction alone is not enough to entice a reader. The fan fiction has to have a plot. It needs to have a story arc, just like any other work of fiction. Most of the time, just having drama between characters that a reader is already familiar with because it's fan fiction, it's not going to be enough. And it's not going to really sell the story because there isn't really a story to be sold. Now, again, if this is what you want to write and you still want to post it anywhere, that's totally cool. I'm not saying like there's a right way and a wrong way to do fan fiction. I'm just saying for the sake of having people hooked on the story and really entertaining an audience, those classic story beats that you follow in any other work of fiction are going to be beneficial. But at the same time, there are such things as character studies. I'm not opposed to those, and I know that many other readers aren't either. So however you want to do it, you can do it that way, but a good plot, I would say, is important to most readers. And this last tip also falls under the umbrella of if you're just doing this purely for yourself, don't even worry about this. But if you are writing with the hopes of other people reading it, this is something you might definitely want to pay attention to. Developing your OCs. Now, some fanfiction won't have OCs. I know a lot of fanfiction out there is just focused on the characters that already exist within the story. For me and a lot of other fanfiction writers, having an OC that we put into this already existing world, a lot of times in the form of a self-insert. For me, it's always a self-insert. Anyways, this being said, if you are hoping for other people to read your fanfiction and enjoy it and not leave mean comments, because I have been there, this original character or self-insert, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, because not all OCs are self-inserts, let's also make that clear, but you want to make sure that they are developed. Because while I, and I think other people out there, are usually cool with reading self-inserts, what we're not cool with reading are Mary Sue's, which basically means a character who has no flaws, can do no wrong, maybe he's a little overpowered. But again, I just want to clarify, if that's what you want to write, write it. Just write it. Don't like change it for the sake of just pleasing other people. Basically, whatever characters you make for the fanfiction, you want them to be just as fleshed out and just as flawed as the characters that already exist in that world. I also want to mention, this isn't really a tip, just kind of an add-on to that last tip. If your original character is in a romantic relationship with one of the characters in this universe that you are writing a fanfiction about, be prepared for them to get hate. I wouldn't even call it criticism, just be prepared for them to get hate. Because at the end of the day, there are some people out there who are gonna be in love with whatever character your original character has come in and romanced. And some readers will just think that nobody is good enough for their true love. And if you have written a very fleshed out character and they do have flaws, people aren't gonna like that. And if you've written a character that does not have flaws and is just this perfect person for this character to be with, people also aren't gonna like that. You can't win. Fan fiction, I will say, if there are original characters in it, it's something that can get your feelings hurt. And it's something that people are quick to criticize, and I would say it gets more hate than original works because, again, people already have attachments to these characters that you are coming in and like adding another character to their lives. I don't know why people feel the need to do it. Like, if you dislike the character that much, just stop reading. Can you tell I still have some like deep-seated anger about some criticism that one of my characters got in the past? It was just like straight up just like swearing at my character, calling her names, okay? It's not nice. Okay, anyways, I'm rambling at this point. Those are my 4 most important tips for fan fiction. Hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. That's it. Okay, bye.